But on China, Vladimir Putin said the two countries should work together to create what he called a just world order.
BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, BRICS. So the name is an acronym. In 2006, it started with 4 members. South Africa joined in 2010. And this year, 5 new members have joined. Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. They've all joined BRICS this year. So now there's a total of 10 members and there is potential for more.
Mr. Xi told Putin the world is undergoing profound changes unseen in a century and the international situation is chaotic and intertwined.
The world is undergoing profound changes unseen in a century and the international situation is becoming chaotic and intertwined. But I firmly believe that the profound friendship between China and Russia from generation to generation will not change.
Welcoming his professed dear friend Xi Jinping to the 16th annual BRICS summit, Vladimir Putin said Moscow and Beijing would work towards creating global security.
Then the BRICS are certainly onto something, because not only are many BRICS member states talking about a different world economic order, but once they start talking about a different political and security order, we're onto something in many, many ways.
20 world leaders in total are descending on the Russian city of Kazan for the summit. It's seen by the Kremlin as sending the message that attempts by the West to isolate President Vladimir Putin over his invasion of Ukraine have failed. Moscow is touting this as the largest foreign policy event the country has ever hosted. The Russian president hopes to use the summit to convince members to adopt an alternative to the dollar for global payments.
In the face of Western sanctions, Russia has been trying to persuade its allies to adopt an alternative to the dollar for international payments. At a BRICS summit this week, Moscow is expected to try and convince a growing club of developing economy allies that it is immune from Western attempts to isolate it and call for other countries to join its attempt to overhaul the global financial system.
Russian authorities are keen to promote the idea of a unified BRICS financial system to rival the dominant US dollar.
BRICS is perceived as an alternative to the dollar system. It became the platform that offers some alternative ways of carrying out economic and financial transactions. Russia proposes to use some kind of new currency, which could allow national currencies to be converted into a new unit of payment. It will reportedly be electronic digital money.
Xi Jinping is going to walk alongside his buddy Vladimir Putin at this BRICS summit. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Gordon, it seems to me that Joe Biden's done an excellent job of bringing our enemies together into this BRICS group. It worries me very much that you have India part of it, the UAE part of it. I guess my question to you is, A, are you concerned about the growing kind of inclusivity of the BRICS group? And also, what moves have they made? Is it a serious threat that they're trying to get these countries and other to use currencies other than the dollar? Where do you think that stands at this point?
Yeah, the BRICS wants a common currency. China has been pushing that. They're going to maybe make it gold back. But as everybody says, there's only one country that can dethrone the dollar, and that's us with the wild spending that the Biden administration has been authorizing. So clearly there's something needs to be done there.
The group accounts for 45% of the world's population and 35% of global economic output.
So Moscow's position is simple. It sees the BRICS as a way to oppose the West, a way to challenge the Western order. Then you have China. It wants to dethrone the West, position itself as a global leader. And what better way than this? A group that caters to the global South. So this is where Russia and China find common ground, an alliance against the West. That's what they want BRICS to be. But not everyone shares this vision, like India. India does not want to take an anti-Western stand.
It also lets him demonstrate that his message of reshaping the US-led global order does have appeal for other countries outside of Russia. Finally, I would note that this is a chance for Putin to have meetings with key partners that are sometimes hard to pull off because of his travel limitations, given the arrest warrant from the ICC against him.
The BRICS are very disparate. I don't think that they're a real challenge to the U.S. And by the way, India in the BRICS is actually preventing the BRICS from becoming a non-Western institution. India is not part of the West, but India doesn't want to be anti-Western. So as long as India is in the BRICS, we're going to be okay. If they turf India out, then the BRICS could actually be an important organization.
As of today, 30 countries expressed their desire to cooperate with BRICS in varying degrees, to join this organization's activity in this or that way. Here, together with other members of the organization, we have to think carefully how to treat the enlargement of BRICS. Certainly, we will not push anyone away. It is absolutely clear that our doors are open.
And with the Middle East settlement on the summit's agenda, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas was also invited to Kazan.
That invitation came directly from President Putin, who has reaffirmed Russia's support for a two-state solution to the conflict.
What we hear from the member countries, of course, that it is not an anti-Western bloc, but rather an alternative to the existing world order, an attempt to offer some other kind of organization to the world.
Добиться максимальной реализации экономического, инвестиционного, технологического и человеческого потенциалов наших стран. Укрепить конструктивное влияние БРИКС на мировые процессы. Сделать мир, в котором мы живем, более безопасным.
It is also not yet clear how many countries explicitly support an alternative to a dollar-based financial system.
I think that first of all, BRICS had to learn how to sit together when twice as large countries now present in BRICS body. And previously of any arrangement, the major points should be settled down. First of all, it's alternative payment system.
Perhaps conscious that building support for an alternative to the dollar might be challenging, Moscow has an interim proposal, a so-called bridging payment system for digital transactions set in individual national currencies that would be immune from Western control. The idea hinges on linking commercial banks through the central banks of BRICS member nations and involves transferring digital tokens backed by national currencies using blockchain technology. This would guarantee the secure exchange of those currencies, circumventing the need for dollar backing altogether. Some newcomers to the club, like Egypt, are already exploring similar bilateral payment partnerships.
I mean, some of the BRICS countries, they started such models of payment bilaterally. So we find China, Russia, India, Russia, and so on. Even China, United Arab Emirates, and so on. In Egypt, we are starting this with China as well. So, I mean, this is the trend now. This is the trend. And this is an important step to be taken by the BRICS.
I suspect, you talk about the European Union, as our colleague in Tehran was just doing there. I mean, essentially, you've got lots of different political persuasions running European countries, and most countries, apart from, of course, mine, which left, seem to be quite happy to be within the EU. Large organisations have got to be constructed, really, to be big enough for all of their members and to take account of the different types of government that they may have. But there's a commonality of interest. We've talked about some of this when it comes to the United Nations, the rule of international law, all of these things that actually came out of the end of the Second World War that our grandparents fought so hard to establish, are now being sort of ripped up in front of us. And so I think that there are many countries around the world looking for a new kind of stability in terms of peace and security.